Hey everybody, it's Webby and welcome back to another video. Today we're having a look at the brand new 2025 BMW 118. So the new 1 Series has just arrived in Australia. There's two models, the 118 that we've got here today and the M135. Well, I'm actually getting that next week, so that's in an upcoming video. So let's start off having a look at the 118 and see what's new and different about this model in 2025. The first thing you notice is the front styling. So the front kidney grills have changed quite a lot. We've got a new design of front headlight and the bottom of the front bumper has also changed as well. It does make it look like it's slightly longer. Where the front of the bonnet sort of comes down further away from the car. So yeah, it does make the 1 Series look a little bit bigger than before. But it's quite a striking design, particularly in this Portimao blue colour, which I think suits the car really well. Under the bonnet, we've got a 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine. 7-speed dual clutch gearbox and front wheel drive. So it's gone away from what the 1 Series used to be many years ago, and certainly when I last drove a 1 Series, and now it's front wheel drive, it's more efficient, there's more space inside, so as an everyday car it's actually pretty good. Now looking at the rear of the car, I think this is one of the best angles for it. I do love sort of the chunkiness of the rear end. I do like this gloss black rear diffuser at the bottom of the car. It's got the M Sport pack, so it looks really sporty. Overall the design I think is really cool. If we look inside the boot, the tailgate's electric, which is quite cool. You get a decent 380 litres of carrying capacity. It's a nice square shape as well. There's no sort of cutouts and wheel wells and bits and pieces like that, so it's actually a decent design. The rear seats can split 40, 20, 40, and then you obviously fold those down, you've got around 1200 litres of space. So actually a decent sized space for such a small car. There's no spare wheel though, so you do get a little bit more space under this second sort of stage of boot. So you've actually got two levels to sort of hide bits and pieces under there, or take it out and you can increase the height of the boot for bigger items. In terms of pricing, well, it's actually gone up from the previous model from last year, but you do get more standard equipment, so it's not too bad overall. So like with any other BMW, you can add lots of extras to your car. The only one on this one is what they call an enhancement package. So we've got things like these nice 19-inch alloy wheels. You've also got the panoramic sunroof, which is really cool. And then on the inside of the car, you've got things like heated steering wheel, electric seats with memory on the driver's side, the Harman Kardon sound system, which is fantastic, and what they call driving assistant professional. So that's more safety features and driving aids to keep you safe on the road. So let's have a look on the inside and see what's changed about this 2025 BMW 118. Right, so let's step inside this new 1 Series then. It's typical BMW in here, to be fair, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You've got the dual screens there in front of the driver for digital display and also the infotainment screen. You've got this lovely black interior. Other colours are available as a no-cost option. The seats are superb, really supportive and comfortable. As part of that enhancement package, they're also fully electric with memory on the driver's side. Harman Kardon system, that's also part of that package I mentioned earlier as well. We've got a heated steering wheel. We've also got the large panoramic sunroof, which is very cool. That's nice, lots of light inside the cabin. So that enhancement package is almost compulsory. You want to have that on your car. So this is the view ahead from the driver's seat then. This lovely leather wrapped steering wheel. It does feel quite big though. It's almost like it's too big for such a small car. You'd imagine this would be on an X5 or something like that. Other than that, it's a nice steering wheel. Buttons on the left hand side for your cruise control, and then the others on the right hand side for your music and audio functions. As I said, nice display there in front of the driver, 10.25 inch digital display. Nice and easy to read, nice and clear, lots of information available on there. Then a 10.7 inch display there for your infotainment, so wireless Apple CarPlay, all your usual functions and settings to access everything for the car. Some of it can be a little bit fiddly, so if you're like me and don't like the stop-start function for the engine, you've got to dive into the menus to find out where to turn that off, which can be a little bit frustrating. Just below that, we've got some air vents there with the controls there. It looks a little bit strange with this sort of trimmed there, and then it's like a mouth where the air vents come out of. Seems slightly odd to me, but yeah, not sure. What do you think? Tell me your thoughts on the new air vent design. Below that, we've got wireless charging for your phone, 2 USB charging ports there, and some couple of cup holders and a 12-volt power socket. Then just behind there, you got your gear selector here, pretty sort of standard on most BMWs these days. Start-stop button for the engine, electric handbrake. A couple of settings there for demisting your front and rear windscreens. Button there to adjust your cameras, your driving modes, and then that button there takes you into your screen, so you can adjust all your settings for your safety bits and pieces. Then your volume and track selection there for playlists or radio stations. So it's pretty standard BMW stuff, nothing really sort of groundbreaking there. The actual interior though, it's actually a really nice place to be. It's very sort of typical BMW with that sort of big flowing screen across there on the centre of the dash. We've also got a head-up display as well actually. But yeah, the general inside is all very high quality, say nice materials have been used. It just feels a really nice place to be. So sitting in the back of the new 1 Series, and you'll notice you've actually got quite a good amount of legroom. You can also get your feet under the driver's seat, so you can stretch your legs out a little bit on a longer journey. Headroom's a little bit limited though, because it feels like this rear seat is elevated, like you're sitting up a little bit higher than the front passengers. That does give you a good view of the road ahead and also a decent view out the side windows. But yeah, you do feel like you're sort of perched up a little bit higher than the people in the front. We do get some nice air vents down there in the middle and also 2 USB-C fast charging ports. Although you could probably fit 3 people in the back of the 1 Series, it's probably more comfortable for 2 because there is a transmission tunnel here, so the person sat in the middle would have to put their legs either side to be comfortable. So yeah, it's probably good for 2, 3 at a squeeze. Other bits and pieces we've got are the usual fold down centre armrest with a couple of cup holders. We've got this little feature where you can fold down that centre part of the seat as well, so longer items can come through while still carrying 2 passengers in the back. Then you've got your usual ISOFIX mounting points for child seats, and that about wraps up the features here in the back of the car. Right, so we're going to take this 118 for a drive now and see what it's like out on the open road. First thing to note is when you get in the car, when you put your seatbelt on, it brings your seat forward. And when you get out and you take your seatbelt off, it moves the seat back. So it's actually easier to get in and out of the car, which is actually quite a handy feature. So first thing to make mention of is the steering on this car. When you're at slow speed, so you know, low speed, parking, doing U-turns, that type of stuff, the steering is nice and light. The good news is though, it does get heavier when you go on the freeway or higher speeds, so you get a bit more steering feel and you know what's going on with the front wheels. So you've got 2 drive modes if you like. You've got drive and sport that you can change with the gear selector. Drive is okay for just sort of general day-to-day stuff, and sport is going to give you sort of longer gear changes, a bit more throttle response, and it's how I've been driving the car most of the time I've had it during the week. I just find, like I say, you get a bit more throttle response, so it's better for, you know, nipping into gaps in traffic or overtaking. So yeah, I've been mostly driving the car and put the gearbox into sport mode. Now, although the engine's only got 115 kilowatt, it's actually not too bad. It's no sort of like hot hatch or anything like that, but like I say, round town it's enough power for your day-to-day stuff. If you want more, obviously you can get the M135, but it's a shame that BMW haven't got something in the middle. You know, years ago in the older generation they had the 125, which had a 2-litre turbo with 160 kilowatt, and that was a nice middle ground. Kind of competed with things like the Golf GTI. But nowadays it's either this with 115 kilowatt or the M135 with more than double that. So it's like, you really need something to be in the middle, sort of like 160, 170 kilowatt, just for people who don't necessarily want to buy or afford an M135. So it certainly gets up to sort of freeway speeds fairly easily and stays, you know, at the 110 maximum here in Victoria pretty well. But sometimes you just need a little bit of extra punch when you're joining the freeway. Maybe you want to overtake, something like that. So yeah, I think something with a 2-litre turbo, 160 to 170 kilowatt would be a really good addition to the range. It's nice and quiet here in the cabin. Even now I'm on the freeway, there's very little road noise. There's a very tiny bit of wind noise, but then it is quite a windy day today. So it's actually really sort of refined inside the cabin, which is nice for such a small car. But then this car is almost $69,000. So I guess you could argue that you probably expect a bit of refinement in a car, particularly a small car, that costs that much. Now you can go and buy something Korean or Chinese, even a Toyota, that might do the job for sort of $40,000. But then you're not necessarily getting that BMW sort of driving experience. You're not getting the nice materials inside the cabin, the technology that BMW gives you. So I guess you pay your money, you take your choice. But yeah, almost 70 grand for something like this is quite a lot of money. But then you do get stuff like a head-up display, you get an electric tailgate, and there's certain features you might not get on something that costs 40 grand, and if you did, you'd probably be quite surprised. So there's substance in the extra money that you're paying with BMW, not just that blue and white round badge on the front of the bonnet. As a thing to drive though, it's actually really nice. So the steering is nicely weighted, the engine's got a nice bit of punch, and it's just a nice, quiet, refined, smooth driving experience. The cabin is really nicely laid out, there's not lots of buttons everywhere. You do have to dive into the menus a little bit if you want to change anything, which can be frustrating if you want to do something as you're driving. Not that you necessarily recommend doing that, but sometimes trying to find stuff can be a bit frustrating. It's like if you don't like the stop-start, for example, you've either got to put the gearbox into sport mode or dive into the menus to find the button to turn off the stop-start system. Similar for things like if you don't like lane keeping aid like me, you've got to go into the menus to find that, turn it off every time you get in the car, which is frustrating. But a lot of manufacturers do exactly the same thing. That's not just a BMW thing, that's just the nature of the way cars are these days. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, this car's got the enhancement pack. So we do get this lovely sunroof here, which when you open up the internal blind, lets in a nice lot of light. We've got the fantastic Harman Kardon sound system. So if you do like your music, that package to me is an absolute no-brainer. We get fully electric seats with memory on the driver's side, but you also get massage function as well. The buttons on the seat then take you to some of the settings on the screen, so you can turn on and adjust your massage function. So that's quite cool. So if you got a bit of a bad back or had a bit of a stressful day, then the car can actually give you a massage as you're driving along, which is quite cool. When I first got the car and I saw the styling on the outside, I thought it didn't look very BMW. It's almost gone away from that sort of typical squarish BMW look. It's sort of slightly more rounded now. But I do think it's an attractive car. It looks a little bit almost Korean / Japanesey, but also keeping a little bit of a European hint to it as well. It actually reminds me a little bit of my Ford Focus I owned a couple of years ago. Just that sort of longer bonnet with the different headlights, and the shape of the tailgate was very much like my Focus. I've been using the wireless Apple CarPlay in the week I've had the car, and I'm really, really impressed. Every time you get in the car, it connects so quickly. I've never seen a system connect that quickly, but also reliably as well. Every time I've got in the car, bang, it's there straight away. Some cars you have to turn off your phone, turn it back on, turn the car off, turn it back on, just to get it to connect. But it's actually been really reliable in this car this week. So although we kind of come to expect that these days, unfortunately a lot of cars do fall short of expectation. So it's nice to see this one is got a great setup in terms of your wireless Apple CarPlay. So that brings us to an end then to this review of the 2025 BMW 118. I've had a really good week with the car, really enjoyed driving it, and there's lots of cool new features on the car, plus that new design to make it a bit more standoutish from the previous model. Now, if you've got any questions about this car, feel free to leave them in the comment section for me below, and I'll come back to you as soon as I can. I hope you've enjoyed it, so share it with your friends, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and also hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching the video, and I hope to see you very, very soon in the next one.